Today, I'm here with one of our tournament winners. What'd you do today?
I won a UCR club tournament, hosted in our local card shop. It was 16 people, 4 rounds of Swiss, and I won with Brandon Despia.
Right then, let's get right into the profile.
Alright, so from the main deck, it's pretty standard. We're running 3 Aluber. Yeah. We also run 3 Albaz. Always need 3 of them. Really good in the grind game. It's really bad if you run out in the grind game. Also on 2 Cartesia along with a Guiding Web. It's pretty standard ratio. These two you summon off deployment and or you just have them in hand, you just normal summon or special summon them. And Guiding Clem, you don't usually want to see her too much if you don't have a way to fusion summon. But when you have her in the hand, you can just normal summon, activate Branded Fusion, and that's basically full Branded combo. For the other Despias, we have 1 Ad Libitum and 1 Tragedy. 1 Tragedy just to Foolish Burial or send off Branded Fusion to get a search. Ad Libitum for a good Brandon in red play. It's also pretty useful if I have like a Cartesia and I want to fuse off something, just a Reborn a Fusion monster. Also good to bring back a Banished Clem if need be. For the rest of the Albaz namers, we have 1 Albion the Shadow Dragon and 1 Mercurier. You just need 1 Mercurier. It's just a one-off monster negate, searching off of Lost, and Albion just to get things going as like a quick upstart goblin, or if I need to Foolish a Retribution or Branded Fusion. For the other cards, we have the Bestial Serenir, the Bestial Rebellion. Pretty standard. I'm not running a Magnamut. There's not too many dark decks in this format. We also have Demon Nightmare, the best win con in the deck, and Dogmatica Maximus, along with Dark Magician. Maximus, we are on the Nadir Servant package. It's really handy. The only way you get punished is through the Branded Mirror, in which case it's also pretty not bad if you prepare for it. Puppet Lock, it's super easy to do, and just so free to win with it. And also, we are also on the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. It's really handy for a fusion duplication target if Branded Fusion already did resolve. It's also pretty handy in matchups like Runic, Snake Eye, and Kashtira for just like an untargetable guy they can't out. For hand traps, we're only running the 3 Ash Blossom. Honestly, you can interchange this with either like Veiler or Nib or Droll, but I personally like the Ash. It's just versatile, all really versatile. And now for the spell cards. No surprise here. 3 copies of the boss monster of our deck. 3 opening. Yeah, always remember that they're not just like E-Tellies for the Alubers, they're also really nice as discard fodder to protect your fusion monsters from card destruction. Other Branded spells, we have Branded Lost and 1 Branded in red. I was always contemplating and playing the Branded in white. It's just kind of clunky to play with, going first and or second. I usually want to search the Branded in white, but we're just not going to play it. Fusion deployments. Pretty standard really. Just to E-Telly the Cartesia out to dodge any imperms, or if need be, E-Telly and Albaz to get rid of a problem card, or force out on the gate. Here's the Nadir Servant package. It's really handy. Normal combo, or standard combo is you send Garura, search Maximus, Garura get a free draw, Maximus banish Garura, and then Maximus banish 2 more cards from your extra deck to get things going for next turn. And now for the 1 of spells, we have 1 Foolish, 1 Call By. I'm not on the Gold Sark. I personally don't find it too slow and kind of just clunky overall. On 2 Thrusts and 1 Talents. I like this ratio. I personally don't like running 3 Thrusts. It's too bricky, and you know, it's quite the expensive card. 3 Super Poly, a really good board breaker, very versatile. In decks that don't summon from that don't share like attributes, you can always just set an Albaz and activate the Super Poly to fuse with an extra deck monster just to guarantee a Mirror Jade. And for the traps, we just have one Retribution and Duplication. Plan B2, Ash Blossom Joy Spring. And that's it for the main deck. Now we're going to go into the extra.
What's the main deck count?
Oh yeah, the main deck count is 45 cards. So for the extra, Albaz Fusions, we have 2 Mirror Jade. I personally like running 2. I've seen some lists play just 1, but I personally like this, just so I can go for a Brennan or red for an Albaz and a Mirror Jade. For a Lebellion, use the Lebellion to make another Mirror Jade, just in case I need a second Mirror Jade banish while it's on field already. We also have 2 Albion. Not only is it a good combo starter, it's also a good follow-up as a send target from Mirror Jade. 1 Lebellion, or not in cast hero format anymore, we just need 1. Diablosis isn't legal. For the other Albaz fusions, we have 1 Sanctifier Dragon, the Puppet Lock Master. Brim Brum, really handy in things like the Mirror, and just a really good graveyard send to Reborn and Albaz for a Super Poly. A Titaniclad, usually send this off of a Nadir Servant whenever possible, or a Dogmatica Maximus, just to summon a Clem, or to just add an Albaz if need be. For the other fusions, we have 1 Granguno and 1 Quertus. This is a good combo starter for the Puppet Lock. Also not bad going second either to send like an ad libitum to grave to set up a Brennan in red. And Quertus is really good baits to like Baron, Appaloosa, etc. It's really handy. For the Super Poly targets, we have 1 Mud Dragon, 1 Garura, and I guess technically Dracosepelia. Dracosepelia, it's really important in case we get shifted, in which case we can't use Mirror Jade because Mirror Jade sends to graveyard for cost. Dracosepelia usually wins games against things like Flunderies and Kashtira. You just target the first thing they activate and they just can't play. And for the rest, we have 1 Guardian Chimera for the Brennan in red and the Red Ace Dark Dragoon. Also a really good shifter alternative. And that's it for the extra deck. Now for the side. So the side deck is built mostly around going second. So we have 3 Nib, really handy against Snake Eye. It's not going to like completely shut off their turn, but it forces things out. Same thing goes for Joel and Lockbird, really good against Voiceless, Flunderies, and etc. Now here's where it gets a little convoluted. So I only played 3 DD Crows just for this tournament. It was more casual and I wasn't expecting too much Fire King Snake Eye or Snake Eye in general. But normally I would recommend playing the Phantasme Dragons in replacement of these cards. These are just really handy all around. Things against Raid Raptor going second. And it's not terrible against Snake Eye either. For the spell cards, running 3 Cosmic Cyclone, pretty self-explanatory, just generic back row hate, and 1 Soul Release, really good thrust target. Even if Snake Eye isn't going to be in this tournament, it's still a good card to get rid of things like Recursion and Graveyard Interaction. And for the rest, we just have 2 evenly matches. We only need 2. Third is extraneous since we're on thrusts already. And that's really about it. For the matchups, for rounds of Swiss, my first game was against a Magispector Drago Slayer. I win die roll. I make a board. It was a clunky hand, so I wasn't able to immediately puppet lock, but I made a really strong board that they just immediately couldn't break through because it's just Magispector Drago Slayer. I'm not much to write home about. Game 2, he kind of bricked. He almost summoned Bambuku. I put him on Better Have the Porcupine. I ashed that, and he just passed it over. My hand was clunky too. I normal summoned Eluber. He went Veiler. I passed. He also just didn't have anything else, I guess, so he passed it over as well. And then I saw combo first, and he got puppet locked, unfortunately. Game 2, or round 2 rather, it was against Tenyu Swordsoul. Game 1, I lose die roll. He sets up a typical sword soul board, Chi Shao Baron, like Blackout. I try to go break through it. He had Ash, so I couldn't really play through too much, and it was just GG's from there. Game 2, I go first. I puppet lock him, and he didn't have any interruptions. Game 3, he goes first. He goes full sword soul board, Moyu reveal worm. She shall search long one effect, pitch a worm, summon itself a token, and then his end board was a nib token. And then GG's from there. He didn't have Ash, so yeah. And then for round 3, it was against the Brandon Mirror. It was against the Sangar himself, as you might have watched in the previous video. He wins die roll. His board was pretty mediocre. He wasn't able to puppet lock me or anything like that. He sets up a Mirror Jade, a Brennan in red, and I believe it was a Retribution, if I remember correctly. I go through my turn. I set up a Lost, so his Brennan Retribution was basically useless. When I try to go for a Brennan fusion, he tries to go for a Brennan in red play, but I sacked the heck out of him and opened the Bestial Serenir, so I just banished the target. And I just broke through the board little by little and won that game from there. Game 2, he goes first. I'm gonna be honest with you, he just like mega bricked. He set 2 Super Poly Pass. He kept like a Retribution in hand, and I believe it was an ad libitum, if I remember correctly. I go through my turn. He super polys a couple of times, but I personally think it was poorly timed. He made a Dragosepelia using my fusion monster, and I believe it was a Luber. And later in the turn, he made a Masquerade to get rid of my board. I still played through it and ended up puppet locking him in the end. And that was just game. Round 4 was against Voiceless Voice, branded Voiceless Voice. It was Tristan Klein, as you might have seen in the previous Blackwing videos. I lose die roll. He starts with Branded Fusion. I ashed that, assuming it was the mirror. Big mistake, I guess, because he then goes for full Voiceless combo. Low Skull Guardian into Dynamondo Pass. I go for my turn. I didn't draw the Bestial Serenir. Unlucky me. He summons Skull Guardian, gets a search, summons low, etc., etc. I tried to super poly his board away, but the Ritual Spell Engrave just puts him right back, and I just couldn't break through the board. Game 2, I had a clunky hand, if I do say so myself. No, it was a really cracked hand, actually. I'm just lying. I normally summon the Cartesia. I used Cartesia effect to fuse with an Albaz in hand for a Sanctifier Dragon. I did that because I had Mercury in hand, so if he did have Ash Blossom Joy Spring, it would get negated by the Mercurier. I go for Branded Fusion, he didn't have Ash. I go through the combo. I end on a board that's immune to Super Poly, immune to Imperm, etc. I try to puppet lock him. He goes for Rebel. I discard the unknown Mercurier, and it was just GG's from there. Game 3, I guess I'm just assuming that he bricked because he went for prep, but I believe he went Skull Guardian Pass without a low. I'm not too sure how that happened, but I believe he either misplayed or just bricked. Either way, I went through my turn and broke the board and won for game. Yeah, so overall, with my ratios, I never really bricked, quote unquote. 45 cards felt really nice. It wasn't too large, wasn't too small. Yeah, the sideboard as well, very handy. I never felt like I was missing anything for any matchup. There's no Snake Eye today, thankfully, so I didn't have to play against that awful deck, but I felt like I was still pretty well prepared for it with the Soul Release and the Drolls and Nibs as well. Overall, I don't think I made any major misplays as far as I know. Also, for the sideboard, I feel like if you want to make changes, you can also interchange the Ash Blossom and Super Poly with the Drolls, Nibs, etc., as long as you're more comfortable with it, and whatever you feel like your locals is, whatever your locals has in store for you. And big thank you to where we held our tournament, Top Choice Gaming. They provided the prizing. They also got everything organized and set up. So yeah, big help to them. And yeah, that's about it.